Today, on the Impact Nexus, we are honored to welcome a true icon in the world of project management, Americo Pinto. Americo is widely recognized as the pioneer in PMO thought leadership. He is the founder of the PMO Global Alliance, the largest global community of PMO professionals, and the driving force behind the Global PMO Awards. His work has empowered thousands of project leaders and organizations around the world to elevate the maturity, impact, and strategic relevance of their project offices. He is also a researcher, a speaker, and author of several influential books that have shaped how we think about transformation, value, leadership in the project space. And as one of our colleagues recently said, we've got project management royalty in the house today.
Americo Pinto, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. For me, it's a great pleasure to be with you today. So we have a chance to talk and discuss, about some interesting topics. So great. Thank you very much for inviting me.
A good point that you've traveled to Dubai and
Yes,
we've been
exactly.
able to find one of your hours and have you here on our podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Coming to Dubai is always a pleasure, so it's just an excuse to come.
You have done a phenomenal job over the years in establishing not just the practice. When a name becomes synonymous with a practice, you know that, yes, you have actually achieved. But I think what a lot of people don't know is more around the name behind the practice, Americo. In preparing for today's conversation,
Absolutely.
I kind of stumbled on the fact that you may have some experience in acting.
Oh,
Yeah. Could you mind telling us about the previous days, that led to...
Absolutely, yeah. So actually, when I was younger, from 15 to 23, my professional was very different. I was a professional actor in my country, so I was usually involved with plays and some TV also, movies. So it was something that I really liked. But the most important point, after my retirement, when I was 23 years old.
From acting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I started working on a big consulting company. But at that time, I couldn't realize something that for me, today it's very clear. How that time was useful, really helpful in terms of it let me feel comfortable with big audiences, Honestly, if there are like 5,000 people, sometimes I feel better than 10 people.
Yeah.
So and so for me, it's something that I can do in a comfortable way, I could say, and I have no doubt that it was that time that let me, feel like that today. So every experience is important,
We kind of saw a bit of that today. At the beginning of the conference, you were right there at the podium, and then a mic was given to you, and you could just see this freedom to take over the stage.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's it. We are, each of us, we are different people, and of course, we have our talents, things that we do well, things that maybe we have to behave ourselves, right? And definitely, maybe also because of my culture, Latin culture, I'm very informal. I move a lot, sometimes too much, and I speak a lot. And actually, when I need too much formalities, I can't do that, but it's not me, So I have to literally pay attention, behave myself,
Put an effort.
Yeah, I'm that guy that will say, "Hey, Prince, how are you doing?" and touch people, Yeah. I can, of course, I can avoid that, right? But this is something that I learned from this, that we don't need to be good in everything that we do, right? And that's why teamwork is something that makes all sense. We can count on other people with different talents, with different skills to make all of us stronger.
But we can leverage as well on our skills that we acquired and we have from the different fields like
absolutely,
acting.
But I try to not be like that. Years ago, I spent 2 years living in Boston, and I attended a kind of presentation skills course on MIT, and after a few sessions, the instructor came to me and said, "Okay, Americo, today I'm going to give you some feedback, right?" And I was very confident because I was quite experienced on teaching in MBA courses, like for more than 10 years at that time, and people liked me. And I said, "Okay, so tell me, your feedback." And she looked at to me and said, "Americo, actually, you move too much. You move your eyebrows all the time, and people sometimes, they may keep their eyes on you, on how you are moving, not on what you are saying." And I remember that I said, "What?" And I felt very offended with that, And I left, and there was a very good friend, a French woman that was a good friend, that she was living very close to me in Cambridge, and I said, "Hey, Anais, look what she said. She said that I moved too much, And I said, "Well, Americo, actually,
she may have a point."
Yeah, sometimes you look like a puppet." And I said, "What?" And it was funny because after that, for a few time, I said, "No, I have to try to do something different. I will try to present, blah, 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 like this, in a very, and I tried this hard, for a few time. But at the end, I saw, hey, that's not how I connect to people, No, that's not me, And it's interesting because I was an actor, I can perform, and play a role, I can do that. But it's not me, And I realized that it's impossible to connect with everyone. But sometimes we can be surprised on how we can connect with people that we've never imagined. I remember the first time that I came to Saudi Arabia, to the Middle East as a whole. I couldn't imagine that we'll connect so well with my Latin culture. And it happened. I feel when I'm there, I feel like I'm at home, sometimes better than when I'm at home. So we connected in some way. But in other places, sometimes it doesn't happen.
Emphasis on being authentic.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Originality and just being yourself.
Yeah, people see that,
Yeah, do you think that with, because when I think about leadership and the practice of management, there has to be a creative element that you carry on. You can't just put people into boxes. And do you think we're losing the creative touch? Maybe there's a missing piece to say, listen, do all of this, but also add your spice, add your touch. So for example, we had to educate our sponsors on project management. And we're thinking around what is the best way to speak to them in a language that they also understand. Yeah. So we created models, chemistry tables, different formulas that they understand in operations, that they also understand project management as well. So are we missing the creative component? Are we robbing people of that? Or is there an opportunity to harness each person's individuality in delivering solutions?
Absolutely. And sometimes it's about technical stuff, right? That we can learn more and add to our toolkit. But I truly believe that most of the time, especially when you are more experienced, it's about your ability of dealing with people, and dealing with people, sometimes it's difficult, not only because it's really hard, but because we assume that we know what we are doing, that we know them. So when we understand this, it's easier to deal with people because first you don't feel frustrated, like, oh, they hate me, they don't smile to me, they hate me, and it makes much more sense, and it becomes easier to connect with them because that's now they will connect. So you can try, and of course you have to behave yourself, but you can try in different ways. So understand that people are different, I think it's the first step to add these skills to your toolkit, and make you a better professional.
Yeah, we are touching the topic of the multicultural.
Absolutely.
Yes, interaction. And I think you, among all the other leaders globally, would understand it a lot, because PMO Global Alliance grew, and it's global.
Yeah, but
it's
not everywhere.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, tell us about it.
Yeah, so see, for example, I told you about Saudi Arabia. At a certain moment, I have visited Saudi Arabia 3 times and Norway 3 times, right? At that moment, we had around 3,000 members in Saudi Arabia, and I had less than 50 people in Norway. So, what is the conclusion? People hate me in Norway, right?
No, they're not.
That's the. By the way, I was with some people from PMI Norway chapter a few months ago, and I told them this story, and I said, "Hey, what's your problem with me, right?" But again, it's about connection. Their way of connection is different. I couldn't understand yet how it works. They can't tell me because actually they don't realize exactly why, But definitely, I'm not the right person, So it means that in my team, I need some people that can connect with them. They won't behave like me. And this is something interesting about PMOGA, because a few time ago I was hiring a head of community, and she told me something interesting. She said, "Americo, I see that you are very busy. We need to create some people, below you, so this way things won't come to you directly." And I thought a little about that, and I said, actually, no, I don't think this is the solution. It's not something vertical. It's something horizontal. What I have to do is to ensure that we can have more people that can behave like me in their own way. You know what I'm saying? So the spirit is the same, but the way that we make it explicit to people deliver that is different.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe that this is the solution, because if we create many levels, we lose one of our strengths.
Authenticity.
Yeah, that authenticity, and people feel important. So it means that some people will have this strong connection with you, some people with you, and some people with me. And if I'm not here anymore, it's okay. There will be anyone else doing that, So I truly believe that this is the spirit that I want to keep at PMOJ now as part of PMI.
Mm-hmm. And Saudi Arabia is one of the success stories.
Oh, the most success story today. Of course, when we started at Latin America. So for many years, most of our members, our certified professionals, they were in Latin America, obviously. But I think like 2 years ago, the Middle East became the number one region.
What like seriously, what happened? I mean, because you're talking about, the last time I checked, I think I saw 17,000 members. Absolutely. So I mean, before the Middle East suddenly caught up with the fire, like what happened?
Well, I cannot tell you
one thing,
only one thing, and I have no idea if it's the right answer, right? But I have my feeling about that. So first of all, is this connection. I don't know exactly why it happened. Maybe I could be for some people a little exotic. I don't know. It's okay. It worked, right? But the most important the most important thing that I truly believe and need to work it very well in this region is making personal relationships. I truly believe on that. I believe that things are about relationships. And relationships mean I don't care where you are working today. I don't care where you will be working tomorrow. I don't care what you are doing today. If it depends on me, our relationship is for life. And you can count on me. You know, oh, but I'm expecting something in return. Okay, if one day you can help me, it will be great. But that's not something that I expect. But this spirit of being open for people and try to help, to support, sometimes just listen to them, it makes things very personal because they feel important. And that's what all of us really want, want to feel important. And some of them believe that I'm important. So they say, oh, he's, listen to me. Oh, honestly, I don't feel,
we see so many
really
times when the people are just
like that. I do that as I can do this with anyone, because I believe everyone deserves some attention, and if I can do that, come on, why not?
The Middle East is such a trust-based society.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like once, and what you're talking about is once I trust you, once I know that you're not just there to take, and I know that you have a genuine interest in me, the doors open.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. This is the spirit, So and that's what I believe attract people, at least those people that have been working with me. And there is another important point. This is something that for me was a very important moment in my life. When I decided to sell my company, I was the owner of a consulting company with 600 employees. I founded this company in 2003, and then 2002, and then I sold the company in 2017 when I founded PMOGA. I sold the company to Deloitte. So at that moment, something happened that was really good, because I wasn't a consultant anymore, right? So I had no obligation to be the best one, the guru, have all the answers, and my answers should be the best ones because I want to sell them to you, So my business was totally different. And at that time, I could be free to the fact that I don't want to be the star. I usually say at our PMO conference, the difference of our conferences is the fact that the stars are in the audience. And this is the point, And honestly, I know that today people recognize me as, like an authority in PMOs, but that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm really looking for as PMOGA and now building this legacy at PMI is something that I can look back and say, wow, look what we did. I want to spend my life creating things that can be good for people, and I learned that when we work together, we can create things much better than only me alone.
Yeah.
And because I don't need to sell myself anymore, I'm not a consultant. It's very comfortable. When I see people, I saw that a few months ago in London. I saw one person. She said something that I usually say, like one of my sayings, And I said, wow, nice. Some people would think, come on, she should.
That's my quote.
Give you, the credit, Really, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is, okay, she will repeat that and other people will try to copy her. And at the end of the day, many people will start to repeat that. And that's what I really want. I don't want them to repeat that because it was me. It's because I believe on that, So, yeah, I feel that this change in my life made me a better person, in a certain way.
Everyone feels the creativity in you.
Yeah.
And I personally see the creativity in how you build a community, how you have done your framework, even on those events that you are organizing, like Unconference and everything that you bring there. You just feel that touch of the creativity that you're bringing, which is making it unique. And also, I believe that it's giving you the success stories as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah. Well, I see that there are some points related to that. First of all, you mentioned something a few moments ago that I believe it's very true. The word try to make you fit in a box, I literally remember when I was 9 years old, right? In my school, they called my mom. I was with her, and my teacher, right, said to her, "Oh, your son won't be anything in his life because he speaks all the time, with everyone, and he doesn't pay attention in what I'm saying." I remember that clearly. I was 9 years old, maybe 8. And it's interesting because if I believed her, it means that I would hide my most valued talent, that is speaking. That's what I love to do about anything, So today I work with project management and PMOs, but it could be any other area. It's just a coincidence. Maybe other areas could give me more money, right? But any other area, okay? But by coincidence, because of my life, it's project management. But my real talent is about communication. I have no doubt about that. And I'm speaking with you in English. I'm not exactly fluent in English. I'm not a native speaker. But in the beginning, 10 years ago, I couldn't even speak in English, actually. Wow. So, but now I feel I can. I can make jokes. Actually, that's the moment that when you believe that you can speak a language is when you can make jokes, especially in front of other people. So actually, if it's in Portuguese, oh, my friend, I can speak much more, right? But the point is, so this is the first point. The world will try to limit you and say, no, you can't. It's because you don't speak the language. It's because you came from a specific region or country. It's because you don't have money. It's because you are too young. It's because you are too old. So that's what the world tries to do all the time. It's your choice to believe or not, to limit yourself. This is the first point. And about creativity, that's something that I really love to do. Speaking about something, and especially about my ideas, but creating things, right? But creating things, it's something that years ago I believed that I made a confusion between being creative and inventing things. And I realized that actually what makes you creative, it's not creating things from the scratch. It's something different. It's like the ideas, they are floating in the air, right? What can make you creative, at least that's my type of creativity, is not because I'm going to create these things, but I believe I'm quite good on seeing them and connecting them. And that's when something new arises, So I usually say that the opportunities are here, floating around us. People sometimes they believe that, the opportunity will just, boom.
On my laps.
Yeah.
Fall on my laps.
Here in my table and I'm going to take it. It's not like that. Usually you have to connect 2 or 3 of these things, like Uber, it's taxi with an app. You know what I'm saying? So apps already exist. Taxi already exists. Transportation. So now we connect those 2 things and we have a great idea. So that's exactly the spirit that I try to use in my life, And that's how PMOGA and some other ideas that I created under PMOGA or before that, they came up. If you see, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's something. No, it's quite obvious, but nobody thought about that before. Or they thought about that, but not in our area, in other areas. So this is the connection. Now I'm taking something and bringing to our area, and we have a connection. Simple.
I was just going to say that because, I don't know, one could argue, or maybe that's a fact, that there was a vacuum created. I don't know if it's 2010 in PMI, when PMI had dropped its activities around PMOs and all of that domain. Again, people could see that, but nobody stepped forward, right? And I think, was it that creativity? What made you say, that's a spot that I want to feel PMOGA from those communities and address that?
Actually, first of all, and that's something that moved me a lot when I started to study about PMOs. The point is, we are project managers, right? So that's the word that we live. Most of our friends, at least my friends, they are project managers, all of them came from this area. And project managers, they are great to make things happen. So tell me what I have to do, and I'm going to make it happen. But usually they are not very used to create things, to design things. Things are designed, tell me what you want, and I'm going to make it happen. So this design thing is something that my life was quite strong because of my consultant background, right? Consultants need to design things, at least that was my work. So it's something that I really appreciated for many years. And the point here is, okay, we can take these things, but we can apply this approach in other areas, and that's exactly what I tried to do with PMOGA. I started to study PMOs, it was 2010. At that time, I attended many events, including the PMO symposium in the US, PMO symposium. The last one was in 2017, right? Exactly when I found PMOGA. I can't tell you honestly that it was like, I saw a gap and now I'm gonna
fill it.
No. For my book, if I write a book one day, maybe I'm gonna say
add
that.
Some embellishments.
It make me look very smart, but no, it wasn't like that. It was something that I've been studying for years. I had a lot of great friends working with PMOs, and I saw the power of collaboration because I started to develop the first version of the PMO value ring with this group of people in 2014. So PMOGA was founded in 2017. So when we launched the original PMO value ring, not the one that we have today at PMI, the PMO Practice Guide, but the original one, we launched it was 2015, 2 years before PMOGA. And I saw, wow, look how it was successful, people love it. Look the power of collaboration. We had like a group of almost 400 people, that worked with me. And I said, wow, we can do more. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to start with PMOGA. And at that moment, it was, and again, it's not only a coincidence, but it's a mix of things, that are, it's like all the planets are aligned, you know what I'm saying? Because exactly at that moment, my company, I told you, we were 600 people, I had partners, and at that moment, I wasn't involved with the operation anymore. I was the founder, I went basically to the end of the year party, and I had a lot of free time, So for me, it was, I could say, quite easy because between 2015 and 2017, I didn't really need to work a lot. And I said, okay, let me think about, what I can do. And that's why I started to put my efforts on the idea of PMOGA. And then in 2017, I said, okay, that's the time. I need money to invest on this. So I'm going to sell the company. And that's what I did. And I found PMOGA.
But that's the very interesting journey because you have started it as a research idea, right?
Oh, yeah, that's how it started.
And it was really challenging in the academic world to prove that it has a value. But it got an amazing resonance in the corporate and in the enterprise level for the framework that you've been developing. Do you think that academic world will return to you after some times saying that is the success story, we now believe in your framework, let's do the research, why it's working and why a lot of people connected?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. There is something that I learned in this journey since the very beginning that is, I think this thought is quite helpful for young people. Sometimes we believe that, this experience was useless, So my first job during the time that I was an actor, so my first job as an actor, I could say, it was totally useless, right? I'm not an actor anymore. I'm not in Hollywood. So it was useless. Definitely not. It's part with me until today. There is another thing that I did when I was 21 years old, just for 1 year and a half. I worked at an air company in Brazil. My job was, hello, Mr. Robbie, where would you like to go? Oh, really? Okay. What date? Oh, okay. Last name? First name? Come on. I was really young. That's when I learned how to talk with a customer. And later with my consulting clients. Yes. And you say, what? Yeah. So I was trained on that, but I still have this on me when I need it. So every single experience, even when we don't see that, they are very useful, So when I started with all these ideas about PMOs, it's interesting because it was in 2010. And in 2010, I started my PhD in Lille, right? If you ask me, Americo, did you finish that? No. Sorry, I will, but no. But it was very important because it was my first contact with the academy, So I start to read many books on research, how I should do that, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't finish because of many, many reasons, especially because sometimes I had to focus on some specific initiatives that were my priority. But that moment was very important for me. And if you just say, but where is your degree? Yeah, there is no degree. But if I didn't leave that, probably we won't be here today. Because it gave me many ideas on how we can make all of this work more reliable, and how we can get connection with universities and some. So it's not me, but I can have some people, other stars, as I said, that can bring what we need, But now I can understand. That's the problem, Ignorance, sometimes it's a problem because you don't know what you don't know. So, at least when you start to know what you don't know, now you can do something, and it helped me a lot. So I truly believe that every single experience is valuable in some way. Sometimes you are not able to see this value today, but wait, life will show that,
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And talking about experiences and the height of collaboration, is the PMO Awards the greatest exemplification of collaboration in the PMO domain?
Yeah, absolutely. The PMO Global Awards, I think, was key for everything that happened with PMOJ. It's a great example of creativity.
Yes.
My way of creativity, because what I did is, awards, football, World Cup, and right? Let's connect them. And it worked, right? So for those that never heard about that, actually the PMO Global Awards became the largest awards for PMOs in the world, and it looks like a football World Cup. So each country is represented by one company. And we have a round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and at the end we have the big winner, So it's really cool, right? And now we have a challenge. Okay, we have to choose these companies, We have like matches like Brazil and Australia, and judge will tell us which one is the best one. So at the end I have a final score, So 10 judges said that is Brazil, and 30 judges said that is Australia. Australia is the winner. That's basically the idea. But how can we do that in a way that we can engage people and we can spread it very, very, very quickly? So the way that I found was, okay, let's create something a little different. Let's create a judging committee that instead of counting on 10 great stars in project management, the most well-known
Legends.
people. No, let's leverage our people. Again, they are the stars. So today, this year, because now PMO Global Awards became PMO Awards. So this year, I believe that we will have more than 500 people from more than 140 countries.
Obi is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a story to tell. But
Volunteers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Experienced people. And it's very important in many different ways. It's important because, come on, my friend, you were recognized not by 5 people, 10 people. You were recognized by 500 people, and they are your peers. They admire you. It's very strong, Secondly, we can have diversity. Because when I say that we have 140 countries, I'm talking about people from, Namibia, So when I will have a PMO from Namibia participating, maybe it will be difficult. And I'm talking about Namibia just because it came to my head, but it could be,
But you're absolutely
Yeah.
right, because
You know what I'm
last
saying?
year I've been a judge.
Of
And I
course.
spread the word about
Of
this
course,
award
of
in my
course.
country. And then the companies from my country joined
They
the
see that and say,
competition, yeah.
oh, Anara, Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan, what is that? Maybe we can join. Oh, let me see. Oh, Namibia is participating. Why not? Because this is something that is cultural, and I believe it's very connected with me, maybe with you too, because none of us came from those places that are at the spotlight.
And that's very interesting.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how things are in our country, but it makes us, many people feel like we can't. We just can't. Because we are not in North America, we are not in the Western Europe, we can't, But we can, right? We can. And this is the point. Many people, in many places, they just think that we can't. And look how interesting it is, because for many years, we are now in the 9th edition. For many years, only last year, I'm talking about the Americas.
Right, yep,
only
that's true.
last year, the winner was a company from the US. In all other years, we had winners from other countries in the Americas. Look how crazy it is. For example, we had winners from Honduras. We had Puerto Rico. We had a great winner from El Salvador. El Salvador is the tiniest country in the tiniest continent, Central America, doing a fantastic job.
In fact, let me quote you, talking about quoting people, quoting you. You had once said, good, ethical ideas deserve recognition.
Exactly, absolutely.
And I think this
Absolutely. And this is the diversity and inclusivity is something that I truly believe. I remember something that happened like 2 years ago. A guy, one of the judges, came to me and said, "Oh no, Americo, I'm doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I see that in this group of judges, there are people that shouldn't be there, because they are not enough qualified." And I told him, my friend, we have to think as a community. Of course, I understand all your qualifications, but there are many places that it's very difficult to find people with your qualification. It's important for them to participate, And of course, in 500 people, their opinion will not prevail, But it's important to have them there because in the next 2 years, other people will come, and the country will develop. And so it's important as a community, So everyone there has a minimum qualification. But it's true, if you see we have people more qualified than others, it doesn't matter, because that's not the spirit. The spirit is our community is made of different levels of maturity, different cultures, and you can say, oh, Americo, but how can I? Oh, good. Last year, the winner of Africa was Libya, right? Libya is under a conflict, right? And you could maybe, I don't know, if you live in Denmark, you can say, hey, what I can learn from Libya? Think twice, because of course your kind of conflict is different. It's easy to do things when you have money, when you have culture,
stable,
you have maturity, you have stability.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very challenging to do things when you don't have anything.
Would you consider that as the highlight of the PMO awards and that whole process, the acknowledgement of hidden PMOs and great practices? Because I've been a judge, but before being a judge, I've been an applicant. And that whole process turned to a team building session, recording videos and having fun as team members. And at some point, it even turned to a moment to check ourselves, because then you have the criteria and we are like, oh my goodness, yeah, we don't fit this box. It was a conscious for us as well.
Absolutely.
What is like the highlight of the whole process for you?
What you said is very true. And there is something else that I believe we should highlight, that I've been a judge in many awards in my life, and all of them, no exception, including PMI awards, the traditional one, project awards, it works like that. Okay, you send documents, right? They are confidential. So at the end, you are the winner. Mm-hmm. But nobody can learn from you, right? Because everything is confidential. We are talking about documents. So again, for me, it's just for vanity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm the winner. Okay, but how are you changing the community?
Well, I can go to your website and I can watch the video.
And this is the point, because when we change the documents for videos, so now you have to submit a video. Oh, Americo, but we have confidential information. Don't insert the confidential information in the video, right? It's the same rule for everyone. If it's in the video, it will become available for everyone at the end of the competition. That's it. Oh, but I can't. Okay.
But then the community learns.
Yeah. So today we have more than 300 videos, and you can learn from these PMOs. PMOs that are in the beginning of their journey, so they couldn't be the winners. PMOs that are very mature in different regions, in different situations, different industries. That's how we move the community. That's how we make people learn. So yeah. So it's a big combination of things, So we have the judge, we are being inclusive, we have the videos, we are trying to give some visibility for people, for companies, for places that they never had a chance to show what they are doing, and make them believe that they can. And I think this is the first step when we are developing a community, No one should be left behind. Right? That's the spirit.
But it's very interesting phenomenon, because being either as a consultant for the companies or being inside of the companies, those videos actually a motivation to excel.
Absolutely.
Because when they hear that there is a competition for being the best PMO, and then they look to the videos and they see it's an inspiration for them. There's like, oh, we need to tick that mark, so we need to excel, we need to mature, we need to deliver, and all of that. And there's like, oh, maybe in 2 years we can apply as well. But that defining those 2-year journey of improvements, it's so good.
Absolutely.
And when you see it from inside of the company or when you go to them, it's very
absolutely
great.
Absolutely. This year, the Global Awards was incorporated to the PMI Awards program. So now we have projects, we have PMOs. We are still managing this process. There are some very small differences, like the awards ceremony that will be at the PMI Global Summit in the US. But anyway, it's still there. It's a legacy, right, that we brought to PMI. But we are creating this year something additional. I don't know if you had a chance to see, a couple of years ago, PMI launched a kind of report that was named the most influential projects. Now we are launching the most influential PMOs. So, and why? You could say, oh, America, it's exactly the same thing. No, it's not. And why? Because there are many companies that they don't participate because they don't want to compete. You know, it happens especially with the best ones. Because it's like, okay, if I compete and if I lose, you know, people will challenge me. You know what I'm saying? Especially big ones with very strong brands, you know, like this. And come on, we could have them, you know. So maybe this idea of most influential PMOs, imagine we can have this at the global level, at the regional level, maybe at the country level, by industry, by project size, by topic. You know, you are the most influential one in portfolio management, right? So we can create a very strong database with all this information.
You know, talking about data, because I was going to touch on that, because then you are having a repository of so much data. I mean, the videos we see are just a tiny subset on all that. What are the plans, you know?
From now on, because we have two options, right? We can look back and say, okay, let's take what we have and try to use that. I think it's feasible also, but I'm looking forward. Actually, what I want to do from now on is to focus on exactly this aspect, you know, how we can make everything that we do an important mark in terms of developing people, developing the community. So it means that we can learn from these experiences in many different ways, especially now with AI. You know, so for example, there is a very interesting website now. It belongs to Google, that they create podcasts. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Notebook.
It's crazy because it's a natural conversation between two people.
Thank you, Americo. We should just close this whole session right now.
Sorry, but I'm so sorry. And now you can make it in different languages, right? So I uploaded the PMO practice guide in the very beginning when we started to prepare it, and I uploaded a kind of press release about PMOGA acquisition by PMI. You can check it. It's available in our PMO Global Alliance online community, pmogaonline.pmi.org. It's available there. It's crazy. You know, it's crazy. It talks about a guide, you know, with in a natural way. Of course, sometimes you have to edit the audio, you know, because when I uploaded the press release, the beginning of the conversation was, hey, do you know that PMOJ was acquired by PMI? Oh, yes, I know that. Yeah, that's fantastic, you know. And do you know what's the best thing? No. Do you know who will continue to lead PMOGA? No, who? Americo Pinto, the legend, the myth. And I said, oh, no, calm down. Right, too much.
That's what AI thinks about you, right?
Yeah. It overestimated me, right? And I, of course, I edited the audio, you know, and I cut this part. But it's incredible if you think the power of things like that. We can take this, you know, the recording of this, and you don't speak Portuguese, right? But we can create something like this in Portuguese, you know, and books and guides and everything. I'm truly amazed of all these possibilities because, again, opportunities are floating, you know? So a website like this and things that we are creating, for example, PMO conference this year, I will record the audios. And after the end of each session, I will upload the audio to this website and we will create a podcast based on the audio of the discussion with all those people in the room.
That's making the conference more conference-like.
Exactly.
That is really...
It's like a lifelong, on conference. Yeah. And as I said, the opportunities are here for us. It's just a matter of connecting things. You know, so I truly believe on this power of learning, from all these experiences in our community.
Especially having all that data of your framework, the value ring of all the PMOs that's interacting with it in your suit case, and then you can really create a very amazing model on how to mentor the PMOs on the best cases or the mistakes or creating the perception or excel.
Yeah, that's the path. What I want with the most influential PMOs is to start to align these companies with the framework, and we will release in the second semester something new for PMI, even for PMI, that is a kind of product for PMOs, not for people, but for PMOs based on the guide. So something that can help you on ensure that your PMO is really able to deliver value. That is the big challenge. So it's not about people, about the PMO professionals, the leaders, but it's about a PMO. So I'm working on that, and I have great expectations, because if we can spread this idea through partners, and people that can support us, we will deliver a lot of value. I truly believe that what we defend at the new PMO practice guide, released by PMI in February, will shape the future of PMOs. Because there is no one, I've never met anyone that can say, oh no, what you said here, it doesn't make sense, it's wrong. This is something that I'm very proud of. No one can say that. You know why? Because it didn't came to replace anything. It came to connect different points of view. So if you have your point of view, your idea as a consultant, it's okay. You can connect it because it's a perspective of what a PMO can be. And she has her all perspective. I have my all perspective based in our experience. But honestly, one of us, statistically speaking, means nothing, right? So why should I believe that your way is the way? I can learn from your point of view to inspire me on creating my point of view. This is the spirit.
It's the light bulb moment. Like today, I had my team with me at the government symposium, and you could just see the light bulbs just coming on, switching on during the session. And that's great, but they're going to go head back to the office to connect with people whose bulbs have not been lit. Are the services enough to just be for PMO practitioners, or how are we tackling the other layers of the organization who are not PMO practitioners per se, and they are stakeholders? Is there something in store for them? Because all this data talks about that need as well at that tier.
Yeah. We have many projects in our backlog, right? And one of them, it's something that I believe can help a lot, is creating, I'm going to call it like that, but it doesn't mean that this is the final name, but it's a kind of tool or assessment or model that can help you to assess and to plan and develop the maturity of your customers, especially executive level. Because I had this conversation today during lunchtime. Many people assume that, okay, we need to treat people differently, like project managers and executives. But they assume that the way of doing that is, okay, with these people, I'm going to go deeper. With these people, I will be more superficial, high level. No, it's not about that. We are talking about different roles, different content. So these people need to know how to manage projects. These people need to know how to behave as a sponsor, how to be an executive and support projects. It's not about managing projects. They don't care about that. They will never need that. But it's like, okay, how I will support you, how I will challenge you, how I will, it's a totally different. It's not a PMBOK. No. It's a totally different body of knowledge. Much more dynamic, because it will depend from company to company. And there is something that I always say. This morning, the event, I had a chance to say that we assume that people know what we are talking about. Because for us, it's usual, we are the experts. But sometimes they just don't know. And we assume they know. And it's very usual, they won't tell us that they don't know. You know, sometimes because they don't know that they don't know.
They don't know.
And sometimes because they know that they don't know. But come on, I'm the executive, you know, I'm supposed to know. I won't say that, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's when I say that we are dealing with children, you know, because children, in a positive way, are those people that they should have their mind open, you know, and we will raise them. We will educate them. But educate them is not trying to make they do what we believe that they should do, you know, because sometimes they just can't. They cannot absorb everything together at this time. They have their timing. Maturity depends on knowledge, depends on some actions, but depending on time. Nobody mature from the night to the day, you know. So we have to respect that. It's all about people, you know. And so if we understand their roles and if we plan this, right, I truly believe that we can deliver value, but also be recognized, you know, and that's what we are looking for.
Talking about understanding people, some of us struggle to understand stakeholders, 10 stakeholders, 20 stakeholders. I mean, you have built a community of 17,000 different people.
Yeah, now more than that.
And now it's more, right?
Yeah.
So what is the model to building global communities? Because we never hear about the failures. We never hear about the challenges that you had. I'm sure in that 2017 to 2023 6-year span, there were moments, I'm sure, where you were like, listen, let's just close this entire thing. Like, what was that journey like, if you can unveil?
Many moments, yeah. So, first of all, I think, I usually say that when I decide to do something different in my life, and I love to do different things from time to time, so this day will come, when I decide to do that, I don't want to work as a consultant anymore, not in that way. But I would love maybe to try to talk with people about that, about how to create communities. Not on project management, maybe any other area, because it's always about people, you know, in any different area. So I think I've learned a lot in the last years with that, starting something from the scratch. So as I said, it's impossible to say, oh, there was a plan, you know, that. No, but there was a true open mind to learn, you know, and I've never been very concerned about having all the answers. I try to study about that, many books, there are excellent books about community management and things like that. I try to learn from that, use my own experience at PMI. I'm a member for 26 years. Right, I started when I was a baby, and then put everything together and try to, you know, okay, let's try this, let's try that, you know. But there are some specific things that I can tell you that they are very true. The first thing is, it's not about money. It's not about money, because I didn't have money to compete with any big player, right? I'm just a Brazilian, right? With my weak currency, right? So making investments in US dollars, in pounds, in euros, you need to be a little crazy, right, to do that. But anyway, I believe it on what I was doing, and I said, okay, let's go. But anyway, I've never had a lot of money to put on this, you know. I tried to do my best, but definitely it's not about money, you know. Because everything that we created was 100% organic. Everything. It's like exponential, you know? So I have some people here, I have some people, and then they spread, blah, 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 and after a couple of years, that's it.
But you had an ambition.
Yes, true. I well known in Brazil to say, it's a saying like, let's conquer the galaxy. You know, because I believe that usually the work needed to conquer your neighborhood is not very different to the work needed to conquer the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different point of view, but honestly, it's not too much more, you know? So, and this is true. I said, no, it should be global, and it helped a lot. But it's not about money. It's not about, okay, you have a global reputation, because I didn't have it. It's not about titles, Dr. Pinto, or something like that.
Sounds good, though.
Yeah.
One day.
Maybe. And it's crazy, because I think that if I had that, maybe, I don't know if it would make things easier or more difficult, because it can make people see me as a competitor, like, and again, for me, that's not what I'm looking for. So my friend, you are the guy, it's not me. You are the guy, you can, I don't care about that, but it's difficult when you are Dr. Pinto, you know what I'm saying? And it's a feeling, right? I don't know, but it's a feeling. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's good, and I'd love to be Dr. Pinto also. But even if I were Dr. Pinto, probably I won't use that, because of this feeling that maybe it can help a lot. For a consultant, yeah. But for what I was trying to do, I don't think so. And I basically, what I did is I invested all my time, the money that I had, in developing and creating, building trust-based relationships, and I use a LinkedIn for that, right? But yeah, it was crazy, so I needed a lot of creativity, to make it happen, to create, think big. This way we created big projects. There were many people that they believed that we were much bigger than we were. I remember just before the acquisition, I participated in 2 events where I was one of the panelists, and side by me, Pierre was there, PMI CEO, right? So in theory, we were at the same level, you know what I mean? But we were tiny, It's ridiculous. In the moment that we had more people, we were 4 people.
But we have to give it to you, though, because your branding or your presence, it has a lot to say. There's something, I don't know how.
Exactly.
You guys, the perception was, like a huge entity.
But relying on people, So every single project that we created based on the idea that, that's a good point. It's very common that people see volunteering as a workforce. So we need something to be done. Let's call volunteers. At PMOGA, it's a little different. And why? Because I see volunteers as customers, our best customers, because they are engaged as no one else, So it means that I try to do something that is exactly the opposite. I try to map motivations and create groups of personas, So, for example, there is the guy that is very experienced. There is the guy that is starting in the career. There is the guy that is looking for a job. There is the guy. They are personas, and I try to understand what motivates them. What motivates someone young is, I want to learn. Someone experienced it is, I want visibility, prestige. If you are a consultant, you want to make business, right? And I started to create opportunities that could give this to them. You know what I mean? And you can say, okay, Americo, but what about the output, right? It doesn't matter.
So you serve them.
Yeah. If the output is good for me, great. But if I don't really need the output, it doesn't matter. Because it's not about the end. It's about the journey. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I will try to make the output, it was great, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. But this is not the point. The point is you had your chance to have what you want. Visibility, you'll learn it, you'll develop your network. It's not about the output. It's about the journey.
And I'm a beneficiary of that setup which you created and that environment you created, because volunteering did not feel like work for us. volunteering, like we enjoy, and a lot of times
You want to feel like you are important.
exactly, and then we now even give more to the process and to the journey.
No one wants to be a small gear in a big machine. You want to feel like I'm important. But to do that, to make it happen, first you have to think like this, you have to understand the logic behind that, and you have to say, okay, it's not about me, it's about them, right? It's not about PMOGA, it's about them, and they are PMOGA. What we are generating at the end of the day is not the most important thing.
I think there's just something about the person of Americo Pinto that has an extra magic that draws people to them. I cannot deny that. That's,
No, that's so true, because on the very first unconference when we've been there, it felt like your wedding, It was like a family event.
Yeah,
it was so warm, it's so connected. Everyone was
definitely.
just one family, and that spirit, it was there.
Yeah. And it makes all difference. I always say that. I know that we have some people, important people in our community, that I'm sure, and this is a challenge for me, that I'm working on it with my team, because, for example, in the past, I'm sure that these people, like in Paris, we had 2 people organizing everything. I was one of them, and a big event for 300 people, everything organized by 2 people, right? And it worked very well. People love it, right? So I know that we have some people that if I ask them, hey, my friend, can you see those boxes there? I need your help. Take them and put them in that room, 20 boxes, heavy boxes. I'm sure that these people will do that. What? No. That's when this trust-based personal relationships make all the difference. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. There is no formula for that. But I believe it's something that we can use in our life a lot, in many different situations, because that's what builds real relationships, And I see that. So for me, I cannot say that because I become Latin people, I become a little emotional. But
it's
for
just
me,
what we wanted. Perfect.
Yeah, but for me, being very, very honest, the most important asset that I built all these years is something that I cannot understand very well, is how so many people could trust me. A guy in Indonesia, another one here in the UAE, another one in people that they have no reason for that. They barely know me, But we created some connection and they trust me. My gosh, it's a big responsibility, for me at least. And this is something that is priceless, right? So I don't know about my next steps, my life, but I feel that I can count on them in some way, I don't know exactly how, but I truly feel that. Of course, now we are getting bigger, we are PMI. So this is the challenge. How can we keep this? How can we keep this culture if it's not with me, with us, with people that are with me, our new leaders, hub leaders, and my employees, people in my team, because it's not only a job, it can be something much bigger than that. And sometimes people think, oh, it's a job, it doesn't matter if I just move to another place, okay? But no, I remember in my company, my consulting company, in 2017, when I sold the company, like 90% of the business, my business, was made with that group. Still today, when they need something, they call me. Americo, can you help me? No, I can't help you. But they know that if I don't know, or if I can't help, probably I know someone that can help them. This is the true value of all of this, So, yeah, I don't know how I got this, but yeah, it's here, and it's something that amazes me,
Well, Americo, we have absolute confidence in the future that it can only get better and better. We have absolute confidence in the networks that you have built. We are part of that network. We are witnesses to that
Absolutely.
journey. And the fact that you're here is something we would not take lightly. We understand your schedule. We know tomorrow where you're heading to. And I think it's just a delight to have you here.
Thank you, Americo.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
thanks for your time and the
Great
coming
pleasure.
and for this amazing discussion. We enjoyed it
Yeah.
so much. I hope that our audience, they learned about you
Oh, yeah.
and your legacy as well.
Yeah, thank you very
Happy to
much.
have you.
Great pleasure. Anyone that needs support, talk to me. It will be always a great pleasure. People can connect with our community on pmogaonline.pmi.org, right? Help us to make this, a real legacy for the project management community and PMI. There is no better home for that. No?
What can be the best message to finish?
Yeah,
the
thank you
podcast?
very, very, very much.
Thank you, Americo.
Thank you.